Get ready for some high-octane action, as the drivers take on the challenge of qualifying at Tony Rust 30 pits.
We're about to witness some serious heart as they battle it out for a chance at the front of the starting grid.
You can feel the tension building. Richard Reshka is out on track and getting ready to push for their qualifying time. This is where the mental game comes into play. Mike Ramsey is taking their time to prepare for their qualifying run. JP Brand is on their out lap.
Patience is key in these early moments, Carol, but I have a feeling JP Brand is going to make it count.
That's the out lap done for JP Brand. They'll now look to focus on their first flying lap. It's all about strategy in these early moments. Danny Van Ruyen is taking their time to prepare for their qualifying run and get everything just right. It looks like Tommy Glad is getting ready to make their move. Tommy Glad crosses the start-finish line at the end of their out lap. The adrenaline is pumping. Dewald Lambert is on their out lap, warming up the tires and getting ready to put in a fast lap time. You can feel the tension building. Kenneth Ella is out on track and getting ready to push for their qualifying time.
They will want to get a good gap established for their first flying lap.
Tommy Glad will be happy having put themselves into fourth in this qualifying session.
Every fraction of a second counts. I'm sure they can find a little extra in there.
JP Brand is looking for ways to improve their consistency. This is what it's all about. Duold Lambert is putting everything they've got into this qualifying session. Danny Van Ruyen is trying to find that Danny Van Ruyen will be happy having put themselves into first in this qualifying session. JP Brand is looking for ways to improve their consistency. JP Brand will be happy having put themselves into third in this qualifying session. JP Brand is trying to find that extra performance. JP Brand will be happy having put themselves into third in this qualifying session. Ernest Heather is looking for ways to improve their consistency. It's been a challenging session for Marcus Freyson. They're currently languishing in 12th position, which is not where they had envisioned themselves. But in motorsport, anything can happen, and with their skill and determination, they might still turn things around.
I completely agree, Carol. Marcus Freyson is in a difficult position, but they have the opportunity to analyze their performance so far and make the necessary adjustments. It's all about regrouping and giving their best shot in the remaining time.
Richard Reshka has positioned themselves well in 5th during qualifying. The challenge now is to assess their competitors and strategize how to move up the order for a better race start. Disappointing performance from Marcus Freyson in this qualifying session. Currently in 12th position, they'll need to dig deep and find some extra speed to climb up the leaderboard and secure a better starting position for the race.
You're absolutely right, Carol. Marcus Freyson is currently facing a challenging situation, but they have the skills and experience to tackle it head-on. They'll need to stay focused, trust in their abilities, and push themselves to the limit to turn things around.
It's been a challenging day for Willem Immelman in qualifying. They currently sit in 14th position, which is not reflective of their true potential. With the session nearing its end, they'll need to push hard and extract every ounce of performance to improve their result.
I share your thoughts, Carol. Willem Immelman is facing a setback in this qualifying session, but they have the resilience to bounce back. They need to stay positive, work closely with their engineers, and find the optimal strategy to make progress.
It's an impressive showing by Ernest Heather, currently in 4th. They've showcased their talent, but will need to find those crucial extra tenths to climb higher. It's been a struggle for Willem Immelman in qualifying. There's a little bit of wind in the air today here at Tony Rust 30 Pits, as we're getting ready to kick things off.
The calm before the storm. I don't know about you, Carol, but I'm expecting some hard-fought on-track battles today.
Lining up in second is Danny Van Ruyen.
It's like they're on the outside looking in, close enough to see the front without actually being there.
Taking the third spot is JP Brand. Ernest Heather is going to be starting from 4th. As the drivers prepare to take off, Richard Reshka sits in 5th place on the starting grid. From the middle of the pack, we have the race is on, and tensions are high as drivers navigate the first lap. One wrong move could lead to a collision in these tight quarters.
This is where the real action begins. The drivers will be jostling for position and trying to gain any advantage they can.
Absolutely. It's a crucial part of the race, and the drivers will need to be on top of it to make it through here unscathed.
The first sector is always a bit of a nail-biter. With so many cars bunched together, one small mistake can be disastrous.
They'll need to keep their wits about them and stay focused if they want to come out of this section unscathed. Janine Glad will be studying the nearby drivers and looking for anything that could give them an advantage. Maybe Dewald Lambert hit the snooze button one too many times this morning, already losing places at the start. It's a solid performance from JP Brand at the moment. They're holding their position and not getting too caught up in battles around them.
Consistency is key in racing. JP Brand just needs to keep doing what they're doing and wait for opportunities to present themselves.
Hey, Carl, you've had your fair share of races with little action. How did you handle the situation back in your racing days?
Well, Carol, patience is key in such scenarios. You need to stay focused and be ready to seize any opportunity that comes your way. It's like a game of chess at 200 miles per hour.
Kenneth Ellis seems to be putting the pressure on Willem Immelman. It's a battle out there. Each driver trying to outsmart and outmaneuver the other. Oh dear, Mike Ramsey has dropped down to 14th.
Yes, but they can't give up. There's still plenty of time left in this race, and Mike Ramsey needs to stay focused and keep pushing.
Oh, the Janine Glad is in trouble.
They're coming up fast on JP Brand.
The race is on, and tensions are high as drivers navigate the first lap. One wrong move could lead to a collision in these tight quarters.
This is where the real action begins. The drivers will be jostling for position and trying to gain any advantage they can.
Absolutely. It's a crucial part of the race, and the drivers will need to be on top of it to make it through here unscathed.
The first sector is always a bit of a nail-biter. With so many cars bunched together, one small mistake can be disastrous.
They'll need to keep their wits about them and stay focused if they want to come out of this section unscathed. Peter Geldenhuys is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift. These drivers are walking a razor's edge between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely, it's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving. That's where experience and skill come into play.
Looks like Tommy Glad is really pushing it to the limit. They're taking those curbs aggressively, but that can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curb can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer. It's all about maintaining that fine line between speed and control.
Peter Geldenhuys is on a mission, chasing Francois van den Heever, who's desperately trying to stay ahead. This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. Tommy Glad will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops. This is what high-octane racing looks like. Peter Geldenhuys is breathing down the neck of Francois van den Heever, not giving them any room to relax. It's a battle of wills out there, with Dewald Lambert trying to outsmart and outmaneuver Richard Reschke. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Situations like these often lead to a dramatic finish.
It's going to be tough for Dewald Lambert, as Richard Reschke seems to have found their rhythm. But anything can happen in racing, and we've seen Dewald Lambert pull off some impressive moves before. I'm excited to see if they can make it happen again.
The race is heating up as Willem Immelman in 11th closes in on Peter Geldenhuys. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they are going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without a fight. It's neck and neck, the closest battle we've seen in a while.
This is what makes motor racing so exciting. The tension is high and the stakes are even higher. I would not bet on either racer at this point, as it's too close to call.
Every move counts now as Francois van den Heever works to reel in Peter Geldenhuys and overtake for P9.
Don't forget the role of aerodynamics. Francois van den Heever should use slipstreaming to their advantage and close the gap to Peter Geldenhuys.
Peter Geldenhuys is placed 9th at the moment. They are hoping to keep their distance ahead of Francois van den Heever, who is 0.8 seconds behind.
That's very true, and Francois van den Heever knows that as well. They have to drive their own race and wait for Peter Geldenhuys to make a mistake, if they want to have any chance of overtaking.
This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. Kenneth Ella is chasing Willem Immelman in P11.
The gap between them is just over 0.4 seconds. Can Kenneth Ella close that gap and get back in range? I can't see it happening at this point.
Richard Reschke is giving it their all as they chase down Doald Lambert in P3.
Sometimes you have to take risks to win, but pushing the car too hard can be a...
Hold up, breaking info. Looks like that's a mistake from Mike Ramsey. This could be costly. Look at that. Richard Reschke is hot on the tail of Doald Lambert.
It's all about finding the perfect opportunity. Richard Reschke needs to stay patient and wait for Doald Lambert to make a mistake.
A great pass for Richard Reschke as they pick off other drivers and move up the field. Meanwhile, Doald Lambert has lost ground. We often hear drivers complaining about tire graining. Carl, can you explain what that means and how it affects car handling?
Graining occurs when small rubber particles roll up on the tire's surface, reducing grip and negatively affecting handling. It usually happens when the tires are not in their optimal temperature window or when a driver is pushing too hard on a cold or overworked tire.
Rising to the occasion and claiming victory would help to cement this driver's legendary status. Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled as they push for every last bit of speed. It looks like Richard Reschke is pushing hard to catch up to Doald Lambert. That's not a small gap, but Richard Reschke has what it takes to challenge for the position. Oh, this is getting intense. Francois van den Heever is just a few car lengths behind Marcus Freysen. Good news for Francois van den Heever, the gap to Marcus Freysen has decreased. It's now down to 0.2 seconds. While Doald Lambert is not under immediate threat from Richard Reschke, they still need to stay focused and avoid any errors. Any slip-up could cost them their position. The delta between Marcus Freysen in 10th and Francois van den Heever remains over a second, but Marcus Freysen is not letting up. They're pushing hard and looking for any opportunity to close that gap. There's 9 minutes left in this session to make that happen.
Indeed, the anticipation is high as Marcus Freysen tries to reel in Francois van den Heever. But Francois van den Heever is not making it easy, maintaining a consistent pace. Marcus Freysen needs to find a little extra speed to bring the fight to Francois van den Heever and move up the field.
Oh, this is getting intense. Kenneth Ella is just behind Willem Immelman. Disappointing for Kenneth Ella, they now find themselves in 13th. Hold up, breaking info. Looks like that's a mistake from Mike Ramsey. This could be costly. It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with Ernest Heather trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on Danny Van Leyen. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts. Things are heating up as Marcus Freysen tries to close the gap to Francois van den Heever.
We'll have to wait to see if Marcus Freysen can use the draft to their advantage, or if the lack of downforce will hinder their progress.
The tension is building as Kenneth Ella trails behind Willem Immelman. The gap is slowly but surely decreasing, and the pressure is mounting. Willem Immelman is pushing to maintain the lead, while Kenneth Ella is working to close in and challenge for the position.
This is where experience comes into play. Willem Immelman has been in this situation before and knows how to defend for position, but Kenneth Ella is hungry for success and won't give up easily.
It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for Ernest Heather, who is currently in P2. But Danny Van Ruyen is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second. This will require some expert driving from Ernest Heather. The crowd is on the edge of their seats as Kenneth Ella in 12th chases after Willem Immelman. The delta is just over a second, and you can feel the tension in the air. Kenneth Ella needs to find a way to close the gap. You know, Carl, during a long race like this, how easy is it for a driver to experience a lapse in concentration?
It can be quite easy, Carol. With so many factors to consider and the intense focus required, even the most experienced drivers can have a momentary lapse. That's why mental training and staying in the zone is so important.
It's a battle of wills out there, with Kenneth Ella trying to outsmart and outmaneuver Willem Immelman. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Hold up, breaking info. Looks like that's a mistake from Mike Ramsey. This could be costly. It looks like Kenneth Ella is pushing hard to catch up to Willem Immelman. That's not a small gap, but Kenneth Ella has what it takes to challenge for the position.
It's moments like these that make motorsports so exciting. We're witnessing a battle of skill and strategy between two great drivers, with Kenneth Ella in 12th determined to catch up. But we know Willem Immelman isn't just going to hand it to them on a plate. Kenneth Ella is going to have to take it. It should be an interesting battle to watch as long as they can close that gap.
The delta between Dewald Lambert in third and Ernest Heather remains over a second, but Dewald Lambert is not letting up. They're pushing hard and looking for any opportunity to close that gap. There's 13 minutes left in this session to make that happen.
It's a nail-biting race for sure, with both drivers showing incredible skill and determination. But Ernest Heather is not going to give up the position easily. This is going to be a battle to the very end, with Dewald Lambert in P3 doing everything they can to catch up.
Kenneth Ella is running 11th. They are trying to catch Willem Immelman.
The gap between them is just over 0.3 seconds, which can feel like miles if we're trailing and not catching up.
Hold up, breaking info. Looks like that's a mistake from Mike Ramsey. This could be costly. The gap between Danny Van Ruyen and Ernest Heather is pretty substantial right now. It's probably going to take a mistake from Danny Van Ruyen to even allow Ernest Heather to get a look in. Wow, Danny Van Ruyen is really pushing hard in these final moments of the race. It's all over. Danny Van Ruyen has claimed victory in this race with a stunning drive that will be remembered for years to come. Clearly at the top of their game right now.
What a result for Danny Van Ruyen. They'll be absolutely thrilled with that performance, and rightly so. They really put in the work and it's paid off in spades.
Impressive second place finish for Ernest Heather. What a race from Dewald Lambert. They kept their cool and secured a well-earned third place on the podium. Richard Reschke, J.P. Brand, Tommy Glad, and Janine Glad in 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. With Peter Geldenhuys and Francois van den Heever in 8th and 9th. Marcus Freysen take 10th. Finishing 11th is Kenneth Ella, followed by Mike Ramsey in 12th. It's a very still day here at Tony Rust 30 Pits, as we're getting ready to get things underway. Francois van den Heever is holding down the fort in second place.
Francois van den Heever is looking on for a strong result.
Peter Geldenhuys lines up in third place as the engines rev and the race begins.
It's not always easy to get the Peugeot 806 STW this high up the starting grid.
On the fourth grid slot we have Janine Glad. Starting from the fifth position on the grid, we have Tommy Glad. JP, the lights are out and it's go time.
Precision is everything during these initial stages. One wrong move could cost them valuable time or even force them out of the race.
All the drivers will be trying to take advantage of the pack whilst they're still bunched up.
I'm looking forward to this one, Carol, and we'll see a return to form for Marcus Freysen in this outing in Namibia.
As we watch the drivers fight it out in the first lap, I can already feel that this is going to be an epic race.
Let's hope everyone is able to stay focused for the challenge ahead.
Out of the traps and dueled, Lambert has already made their mark in this race, Carl gaining places early on.
It's too early to count chickens just yet, Carol. A race isn't won in the first lap, but I've seen plenty end there.
As the tires come up to temp, their available grip is changing, and the drivers that manage this transition best are likely to make progress through the field.
The drivers are walking a fine line during the first lap melee as everyone tries to establish themselves. It's easy for inexperienced racers to blow it in T1.
It's a steady race for Mike Ramsey so far. They haven't made any mistakes, and they are maintaining their focus. A brilliant maneuver from Mike Ramsey, who has just moved up the field. The race is really heating up. Kenneth Ella is hunting down JP Brand with everything they've got. A setback for Kenneth Ella, who has just been passed. Heartbreak for Tommy Glad, as they slip down the field. What a move, Tommy Glad has moved up to 10th. The intensity is off the charts as Francois van den Heever hounds Janine Glad, both drivers pushing themselves to the absolute limit. This is getting exciting. Danny Van Ruyen is looking for any gap that might open up the position.
Surely they've got enough in the tank to pull away. Gonna be interesting to watch this battle unfold.
This is what racing is all about, folks. Three fearless drivers pushing their machines to the absolute limit, inches apart. Fantastic move. Hold up, breaking info. Looks like Mike Ramsey is coming into the pits early. Now is that to serve a penalty or have they picked up some damage during the start?
That's going to be a big disappointment for them at this stage. Let's hope the team can regroup and make some sort of recovery.
A solid breaking update. Things don't look to be going Mike Ramsey's way, as already they are into the pits. Hold up, breaking info. And Mike Ramsey in 12th is coming into the pits and that might be to serve a penalty.
Well, races can be won or lost in the pits, but in this case it's all bad news for Mike Ramsey. It's going to be tough to come back from.
No room for error here. Willem Immelman is breathing down the neck of Richard Reshka, waiting for the perfect chance to make their move.
That's right, Carol. The pressure can easily get the best of even seasoned drivers. The fans are on the edge of their seats, waiting to see who will come out.
Breaking news, folks. That won't be ideal for Peter Geldenhuis. Janine Glad is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift. These drivers are walking a razor's edge between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely, it's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car.
Hold on a moment. Oh dear, Francois van den Heever has had an incident. Duold Lambert has the pedal to the metal, chasing Ernest Heather. Superb driving from Duold Lambert, who with that overtake has gained a position in the race.
That's what we like to see. Duold Lambert is really showing their class today.
This is a thrilling battle as Danny Van Ruyen edges closer to Duold Lambert in their fight for P2. We got a close battle as Duold Lambert closes in on Ernest Heather.
If Duold Lambert pushes too hard, they might find themselves exploring the scenic route, and nobody's got time for sightseeing during a race.
This is where the race gets really interesting. Danny Van Ruyen is closing in on Duold Lambert.
I would not be surprised if they get this pass completed soon.
The adrenaline is pumping as Mike Ramsey gets within striking distance of Willem Immelman in their race for 6th. The pressure is on for Ernest Heather as they try to catch up to Duold Lambert.
The mental game is just as important here. Ernest Heather must keep their cool while putting pressure on Duold Lambert.
Danny Van Ruyen wants to find a way round Ernest Heather. It's a game of inches now as Mike Ramsey tails Willem Immelman closely. Hold on a moment. Oh dear, Francois van den Heever has had an incident. Looks like Janine Glad is really pushing it to the limit. They're taking those curbs aggressively, but that can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curb can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer. It's all about maintaining that fine line between speed and control.
Hold on a moment. Oh dear, Francois van den Heever has had an incident. It's a close race between Mike Ramsey and Janine Glad in 6th.
This is where the mental game comes into play. Mike Ramsey and Janine Glad both need to stay cool under pressure.
A great moment for Mike Ramsey, who has just gained a place and moved up the standings.
Yes, Mike Ramsey is driving with real focus and precision, and it's paying off.
The fans are on the edge of their seats. It doesn't get any closer than this. It's a tale of two drivers right now, with Francois van den Heever gaining places and Janine Glad losing them. In your experience, Carl, what was the most challenging aspect of maintaining concentration during a race?
The most challenging aspect, Carol, was managing the various inputs and distractions during the race, from radio communication with the team to monitoring car performance and race strategy. It's a delicate balancing act that requires immense mental discipline.
The battle for 6 is heating up as Peter Geldenhuys tries to catch Mike Ramsey in P6.
It's a game of strategy now as Peter Geldenhuys hunts down Mike Ramsey. Yes, it's all about choosing the right moments to push and when to conserve energy, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike.
Willem Immelman is on a mission, chasing Kenneth Ella, who's desperately trying to stay ahead. It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with Peter Geldenhuys trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on Mike Ramsey. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts. This is what racing is all about. Two fierce competitors pushing each other to the limit. Hold your breath, folks. Francois van den Heever is sandwiched between two relentless competitors. Janine Glad 0.2 seconds behind and Kenneth Ella 0.2 seconds ahead. They're fighting tooth and nail for every position. A strong showing from Duold Lambert, who is currently first. It's like watching two predators circling each other, waiting for the perfect moment to pounce.
Can they close up enough for a pass? I don't see it personally.
In racing, anything can, and usually does, happen, especially in such an epic showdown. Hold on a moment. Oh dear, Francois van den Heever has had an incident. Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled as they push for every last bit of speed. This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. Richard Reschke is chasing JP Brand in P4. The tension is building as Janine Glad trails behind Willem Immelman. The gap is slowly but surely decreasing, and the pressure is mounting. Willem Immelman is pushing to maintain the lead, while Janine Glad is working to close in and challenge for the position. Oh, this is getting intense. Richard Reschke is just a few car lengths behind JP Brand.
It's a fine line between pushing the car to its limits and losing control. Richard Reschke is really walking that fine line.
The pursuit is on. Janine Glad is closing the gap on Willem Immelman, determined to claim P9. A brilliant maneuver from Janine Glad, who has just moved up the field. It's an intense battle for position as Willem Immelman tries to outmaneuver Janine Glad. This is edge of your seat racing.
This is the moment where legends are made. These drivers will go down in history as the ones who fought tooth and nail for the top spot.
Great driving from Willem Immelman, who has just gained a place and moved up to 9th.
Impressive. Willem Immelman is really showing their skill and determination out there.
It's looking good for Peter Geldenhuys, sitting in 6th.
Definitely, but they can't get too comfortable. There are plenty of other drivers who are gunning for that position, and Peter Geldenhuys has to keep pushing to stay on the pace.
Look at that, Willem Immelman is hot on the tail of Janine Glad.
The gap is 0.4 seconds now. Willem Immelman is going to have to work a bit harder to close that gap with Janine Glad.
Oh dear, Tommy Glad has had an incident. It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for Janine Glad, who is currently in P8. But Francois van den Heever is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second. This will require some expert driving from Janine Glad. The race is heating up as JP Brand in 4th closes in on Danny Van Ruyen. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they are going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without a fight.
Absolutely, JP Brand in 4th will need to be patient and carefully work to reduce that gap without overdriving it, as they can't afford to take unnecessary risks and risk an off or damaging their car. Let's see if they have what it takes to get back into the game here.
It's a battle of wills out there, with Janine Glad trying to outsmart and outmaneuver Francois van den Heever. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Situations like these often lead to a dramatic finish.
Indeed, the anticipation is high as Janine Glad tries to reel in Francois van den Heever. But Francois van den Heever is not making it easy, maintaining a consistent pace. Janine Glad needs to find a little extra speed to bring the fight to Francois van den Heever and move up the field.
Every move counts now as Ernest Heather works to reel in Duald Lambert and overtake for P1.
One important aspect here is choosing the right braking points. Ernest Heather needs to be precise to avoid overshooting and losing valuable time.
The crowd is on the edge of their seats as Janine Glad in 8th chases after Francois van den Heever. The delta is just over a second, and you can feel the tension in the air. Janine Glad needs to find a way to close the gap.
That's right, Janine Glad in 8th knows they have to push to the limit if they want to catch up. But Francois van den Heever is no slouch, and they're going to be pushing just as hard. It's a battle of skill and will out there.
This is going to be a nail-biter. Francois van den Heever is defending for their life, but Kenneth Ella is right there doing everything they can to force a mistake.
It's not over yet. Kenneth Ella is right on Francois van den Heever's tail, and if they can find just a little bit of extra speed, they might be able to make a move.
It's like Duald Lambert has saved all their energy for this final stretch.
They'll be the ones celebrating at the finish line.
And it's a checkered flag for Duald Lambert, who crosses the finish line with a commanding victory. What a phenomenal performance, absolutely dominant today. A nail-biting finish, but Ernest Heather claims 2nd place.
Strong work securing 2nd place. Well done.
What a race from Danny Van Ruyen, showing their skill and determination for a great 3rd place finish. In 4th, 5th, and 6th, it's JP Brand, Richard Reschke, and Peter Geldenhuys. Coming in 7th and 8th we have Janine Glad and Willem Immelman. Kenneth Ella and Francois van den Heever end in 9th and 10th.